Performance, good Lord. Hello everyone, my name is Adam and welcome to Driven Nashville. If you're new to the channel, we produce weekly enthusiast-driven car content. And today we're going to be reviewing one of my all-time favorite vehicles. This is a 997.1 Porsche 911 Turbo. This is a 2007 year vehicle. And let me tell you, for almost a 15-year-old car, you're looking at one of the best specs and one of the best examples I'd say on the market currently. This car is for sale. We want to give a big shout out to Direct Auto of Tennessee for allowing me to review this car for you. You can get in touch with the dealer at the first comment and also in the description, link to their website. I believe this vehicle is going to be sale for $115,000. Now, one of the interesting parts about this car is that it bottomed in the depreciation cycle a few years ago. It was worth about $75,000 to $80,000 for the 6-speed, which this one has, right? And based on the spec, you know, color, etc. So these have actually steadily gone up in price, and this isn't really just related to COVID, which is unusual. Like, every car's gone up over the last year, right? Being that we're in 2022 right now. But really, this car is very, very collectible because it has the engine, which I'm going to go ahead and show you and spotlight in a second, which is, of course, the flat 6, but it's the famous Mezger engine, right? You'll hear this from time to time when you research these particular cars. So it's a very bulletproof power plant. And it's just a fantastic car, right? It's a little bit smaller than if you were to go ahead and buy a new 991 version or a 992 version of the car, right? So it's only got 3,400 pounds versus 3,500 and 3,600 like on the newer models. It's a little bit smaller, right? It's got the hydraulics in it. It's got all-wheel drive in it. So it's just got a lot of great characteristics that are going to make it a future classic. And of course, they fixed from the 996 generation those ugly egg headlights, and they restored it back to the perfect Porsche, you know, looks that have of course been around for many, many years and many generations now. So we're going to get into this vehicle. We're going to do a full point of view drive. I'm going to tell you about the engine. I'm going to tell you about the interior a little bit, and then we're going to do, like I said, really get it out on the road so you can hear it, you can feel it. We're going to take it down some back roads, have a good time. And if you're interested in anything about the comment on the car. If you have any other thoughts about the vehicle, please let us know. If you like the video, please give us a like. We really appreciate it. It helps the algo. And subscribe. Before we get into the point of view drive, I really do want to take a moment just to talk a little bit about the power plant in this car. Hans Mezger, he was the one that engineered this. He's a famous Porsche engineer, and he really worked a lot on the water-cooled Porsches, the 996 and the 997, and he's responsible for a lot of their higher-end cars. The GT2 RS is an example of that. But this engine is just fantastic, right? It's a flat 6, so it has an opposing cylinders, right? They oppose. The engine sits really low in the car. And it's just fantastic, guys. It has about 470, this is a completely stock car other than the air intakes, but it has about 470 horsepower, and with the overboost feature, gets you over 500 foot-pounds of torque. So with the overboost feature, you get about 10 seconds of max power with this car. Otherwise, the car will make about 470 foot-pounds of torque. So still a lot of power when this thing gets going. And that's 60 more horsepower than the last generation turbo, the 996. So it's trust me, being 3,400 pounds, this car will rocket to 60 in under 4 seconds. It's in the high 3s. So, all-wheel drive, I mean, it keeps up with the modern supercars of today. And one of my favorite features about most of the 997s and the 996s, of course, is that you can actually see the engine. You can actually see the power plant. If you buy any kind of modern 991 generation, 992, even the new ones, right, they're all covered up. You know, you might be able to see some carbon fiber, you might be able to see some, like, you know, air fans or whatever, but other than that, you can't see anything. So you can actually get into the engine here and clean it up and work on it. So from that point of view, again, it just adds to the collectability factor of this car. I just want to come in here to the inside real quick, guys, and just show you a little bit about the interior of this car, just to help you more or less understand if you're looking to get a 997 Turbo or really any 997 generation car, you have a fairly decent idea of what to look out for. So this right here is called the extended leather, or also known as full leather. So you can see that gives you the leather all through the dashboard at the top here. These are also the sports seats, right? And there's different seats that you can get in this car. These are definitely the seats you're going to want to purchase, and this also has the crest here as well. Now this has all of the upgraded carbon fiber in the middle, and of course the center console. That is one of the things that's going to date this vehicle, but you know what? I'm always a sucker for buttons. I'm not a huge fan of everything being, you know, digital these days, like on the new cars. So that's another reason why I actually think this car might be even more collectible in the future. And then you do have the aluminum pedals down here as well, so that's something to be mindful of. This also has, you know, the suede and the Alcantara and the sunroof, which I do believe was an upgrade on this vehicle. This does also have the Sport Chrono. So these are all things to be mindful of. You know, one of the best practices when buying a Porsche is to just make sure that you get the absolute best spec you possibly can afford, because that's really gonna help, you know, hold the value of the car. All right, guys, we are driving the 997 Turbo. So, you know, I wanna say first and foremost, this car is very easy to drive. 6-speed manual, you could absolutely daily drive this vehicle. Clutch is fairly light. It's not the heaviest clutch. Very easy to engage. I love the way the steering feels. It's got just a little bit of play in it, so it's not the heaviest steering, but it's pretty good. I mean, you can see here, it gives you about a ½ inch and then it'll engage. So again, nice to daily, comfortable car to enjoy on the road. Now, the other thing that you need to be mindful about this, at least this particular car, is it does have the aftermarket air filters on it. So, you hear that? You can hear the turbo spool, you can hear the blow-off sounds a little bit better than you will with the factory air boxes. So just make a note of that. I don't know how well it's going to pick it up on the microphone, but from the point of view of me driving this car, let me tell you, it sounds great. You don't hear a lot of the exhaust note, that is a fact, but you do hear a great amount of air as you get in on and off the gas, which is a lot of fun. You can see there, plenty of power with this car. 470 horsepower, you know, not enough. It's 500 foot-pounds of torque, you know, not enough. Like, how much do you really want? Like, it's an incredible amount of performance. I mean, look, coming out of that turn, look, I gave it half throttle and I'm doing almost 70 miles an hour. You know, really, how fast do you need to go on the street? And to be honest with you, I don't think that this is a track car. You know, if you're looking for a car to take on the track, then go get an RS, right? I mean, that is built for it. This is something where, you know, this is more of an adult enjoyed vehicle. You can change the PASM, the Porsche Active Stability Management, by hitting this button right here. Because we're on some fairly bumpy roads today, I'm going to leave that off. However, I am going to turn it on sport mode here in just a minute, and that'll go ahead and give me full throttle response, and it does help the vehicle as far as the performance a little bit. I've also got the wing all the way up. Now, you can absolutely feel that this car is turbocharged. It does have a little bit of lag, okay? So I would say if you're below, you know, 2,000 RPMs, you're gonna need to give it a little bit of time, half a second. However, it almost feels like a naturally aspirated car. It is true, okay? Really the get up and go in this car, because the double geometry turbos and the variable geometry, they really do a great job. Feels fantastic. Now, the brakes, they're steel brakes. They're not Porsche carbon ceramic brakes, also known as PCCBs. So these are the red steel brakes. They're very good. I mean, don't get me wrong. They give you a lot of progressive feedback, but they're not exactly going to throw you through the windshield. You do have to give them a good push when you want to engage them. So just being mindful of that. You absolutely can feel the car is all-wheel drive. When you're really on the gas, it just hunkers down. It gives it a really, really good planted feeling. I just got to say, for being an almost 15-year-old car, it's absolutely fantastic. It just feels great to drive. And I wanted to show, because we have this car in front of us, I just downshifted the car to fourth. I'm doing less than 2,000 RPMs now, as you can see. And, the car will baby all day long. It's just such a dual personality car. You have a car that you can absolutely keep up with the best of Ferrari, right? Even in modern Ferraris, frankly, this car will keep up with it if you're a good driver. But then you also have a car that is absolutely livable and daily drivable. And just from that point of view, it just checks so many different boxes. I think one of the best parts about this vehicle is it's just not ostentatious. This competed against the Ferrari F430 and the DB9 and, some of the more older cars that came out in 07. And, I would say that this is probably the one that is just the do-it-all car, right? It got you the right looks, but it's absolutely a vehicle that you could have driven to work and not be too negatively judged by your colleagues. It's absolutely the car that you could take to dinner and, get the right respect. It's just not that flashy, though. It's never going to be a Ferrari F30, right? And if you're looking for that, I probably would tell you not to buy this car. But if you're looking for a car that, look at this. Look at the amount of power it's got. Just absolutely fantastic. It's just such a good do-it-all car, right? You've got the ability to rampage around back roads like this, or you could drop it into a high gear and just enjoy the road. Plenty of torque, plenty of power everywhere in the RPM band. Doesn't matter if you're in 2,000 RPMs or if you're at 6,000 RPMs. This thing is flying no matter what. The engine, the power plant, the turbos, it's a lot of fun. It really is. This car, like most for Porsche, it just punches above its weight class in so many ways. And it's fun. We're taking these turns, even on a fairly cool day here. We're taking them pretty sportingly, and it's absolutely drama-free. And we're coming up to one of my favorite spots here, and I'll be able to do some runouts for you. All right, guys, I'm going to do a third gear pull here. We're going to start right around, I'm going to go ahead and do a third gear pull at just a little over 2,000 RPMs, so you can get a good idea of how it feels. Ready? That's the turbo fully spooled. You can see that's 80 miles an hour. Plenty of power in this car. Now I'm going to do the same pull now, but I'm going to do it at 3,000 RPMs in fourth gear. You ready? Full throttle. 80. You can see here, that's 90 miles an hour. Plenty of power, right? With the overboost feature of this car, you get 500 foot-pounds of torque. I'm telling you, I really don't understand why people want to put more and more power into these turbos. From the factory, they're so dialed in. There's so much performance on tap. I never got it. When you drive this car, the last thing you're going to think about is it doesn't have enough power. Even in fifth gear, right? Full throttle, look at that, 90, 100, 105. It's so much power on tap, so effortless. Just absolutely fantastic cars to drive. And so drama-free. Even though I'm doing 85 miles an hour, it's still pretty quiet in here, It's an absolute great car that you could take on the highway and just do mile after mile. And, don't be surprised if you find a lot of 997 turbos that have quite a few miles on them because of that. And I just love it every time you take your foot off that accelerator, you get a little bit of psst. Yeah, it's a great car, guys. It really, really is. It's a good time. Really, it's got plenty of throw you back in your seat performance. no doubt about it. And I just love the all-wheel drive. You know, it gives you a tremendous amount of confidence coming out of turns. You know, if you're a good driver, this car will keep up with anything that's even modern. Just drives so good. Really, really does. I have nothing but positive things to say about the overall feeling of the 6-speed, and, you know, of course, the Mezger engine is just world class. So good. You know, we're all heading to an electric vehicle world. This car is going to go down in history as one of the best. No doubt about it. And the next lucky owner that gets to drive it and enjoy it, congratulations. Good for you. Happy for you. I wish it was me. So much performance. It's just great. Well, I just want to thank you all for watching. This is the conclusion of the video. You know, these cars are faster than a Ferrari F430. They are more reliable and easier to maintain. They are a classic look and shape, and they're more comfortable, frankly, than most of the cars of the era. I mean, really, this is a comfortable vehicle that you can daily drive and enjoy on back roads. It literally is the jack of all cars, and that is the main reason, I think, why it's just appreciating. And if you're a Porsche collector, you definitely got to have one of these in the collection. If you're an enthusiast and you're making some money now and you want to have a good store of value for a vehicle where you could enjoy it and know that you're not going to lose your you-know-what, because let's be honest, guys, it's no fun to lose money when it comes to buying cars. And these days, this is one of the all-time best vehicles, I would say, and has been for the last several years, for a store of wealth when it comes to buying a vehicle. It is a physical asset, right? It's not all this Fugazi money that you're starting to see now, all this crypto and all these crazy PE ratios in the stock market. This actually exists. It's physical. I love it. And I hope you got a good sense of you know, the car and the driving experience today. And we really do appreciate you guys watching. Please like, please subscribe, please comment. If you're interested in the vehicle, click the link in the description. Head on over to Direct Auto. Talk to Anthony or Jesse or any of the guys over there. They'll take great care of you. And thanks again for watching. My name is Adam. I will see you on the next one. The next clip's a drone flyaway. Let's call this one a day, shall we? I'll talk to you later.